You are now listening to Talk Your Jits podcast.
Welcome back to the Talk Your Jits podcast. This podcast is, as the name implies, all about jiu-jitsu. I'm your host, Lamar Smith, and today's guest is a white belt who trains at Rogue Wave Jiu-Jitsu and Martial Arts located in West Palm Beach, Florida. Ladies and gentlemen, Eddie Stevens. Let's get this ball rolling. If you want to formally introduce yourself again, by all means, and let's hear about your jiu-jitsu journey.
Yeah, my name is Eddie Stevens. I live in West Palm Beach, Florida. I am currently 51 years old. I started jiu-jitsu a couple years ago when I was 49. I train at the Rogue Wave Martial Arts here in West Palm Beach under Ryan Conforti. I've been doing it 2.5 years, but I am still a white belt. And I guess I would be a good example of someone that started jiu-jitsu late in life and not really having much of an athletic background. So I just dove right into it, and 2.5 later, I'm still trying to keep my head above the water.
Wow. So what got you started into doing jiu-jitsu?
Well, I started in April of 20, and that was right at the beginning of the end of the pandemic, and I just really needed some type of real human contact. So I did some research, and I wanted to do something that was challenging and uncomfortable, and I couldn't think of something more challenging and uncomfortable than jiu-jitsu. So dove right in, and felt like a wave hitting you at a beach where you just get knocked over. But I know a lot more now than I did when I started.
Of course.
And it's been a great sport. I've been in one competition, which was crazy. And I'm just happy to show up, trying to go 3 times a week. But more realistically, probably 2. And every time I go, I get a little better than I was last time.
Yeah, man. That's how it's supposed to be. If you go, you show up, you have no choice but to get better.
Yeah. Now I might not be great, but I'm probably in the best physical shape, and mentally, just doing these flows where you have to react, and your next move is based on what your opponent does. That's very much what I do in life. I'm an attorney, so physically having those moves, replicate them again and again, and hopefully become muscle memory is very much the same, mentally what I do at work every day, reacting to people doing something and hopefully finding that leverage, posting and throwing it back at them. So it's a cool little, having the work thing and then doing it physically. It's very similar, just different.
Gotcha. So, starting jujitsu at your age, which is, to me, no matter what the age is the perfect age to start is today. So was you feeling any type of intimidation, or did you have any kind of like doubts or worries about when you started training?
Yeah, I thought I was going to get killed, because the people I work out with, some of them are like serious athletes, and they train for real. And I've kind of let go of the whole ego thing, and these folks are now like my buddies. Some of them, really good friends, and I would never have had the opportunity, Lamar, to meet these folks, but for just showing up and doing something that scared me and was really uncomfortable. But once you start doing it, these people aren't going to kill you. No one's, every once in a while there's a dick, but most folks there want to train in a way that they don't get hurt, in a way, if it's playful, it's a little more fun and more engaging. And just, doing technique, competition training is another dog, but just doing technique, there's no reason to get hurt typically. training and the competition takes it up a whole nother level. And
Yeah.
I see people get hurt, either they're spazzing out and they don't really understand the flow of it yet, or they're in competition mode, and they see red. But other than that, chances are, you're just gonna have a fun roll.
And that's, I've talked about that a lot. We've mentioned it on the podcast so many times when we talk about the camaraderie of jujitsu. Because when you walk into this environment, it's like you're walking into like this tribe. You're trying to find your place. You're trying to make sure that you're not, bumping or stepping on anyone's toes, or you feel like, I'm just here as a hobby, and this person's doing this for like 8 hours a day. I don't want to get in his way. But like you said, these are the people that you meet, and they become your family. Like, these, people who, like you said, who train so much, who are high level competitors and do jujitsu as, a daily thing, but they still will take the time out to help you because you do the same sport.
Yeah, that's the beautifulness of the welcoming of jiu-jitsu. And I think that people who take it seriously, they have an obligation to help people like me,
Mm-hmm.
and make me, feel like I'm not going to get hurt. And I've where I work out, I've never, I've always felt part of the team, even when I competed. And our coach, we have 200 people now in our facility, which is, I think, a big number.
Yeah,
And
it's a huge
our,
number.
our coach, Ryan Conforti, has this ability to like keep everybody, in kind of a cool collective mode where we are really looking out for each other. And again, if we're training with each other, the purpose is not to hurt each other. It's to practice the technique he puts in front of us and try to master it. And you do that in a way. And once we start rolling, we just pretty much practice those techniques, and depending on the intensity of the person you're rolling with. But again, I'm having a blast at the age of 52, showing up 6 a.m. in the morning with these guys, and some of them I've been working out with now for over 2 years. And again, I would never have met these guys but for showing up in a jiu-jitsu facility and saying, what is this about? And showing up the next time in shorts and a t-shirt, and slowly finding my way into a rash guard, and eventually spats. And it's a cool little ritual routine. And I like the things that go along with that ritual.
Yeah, for sure. And it's, that's funny because like once, like the more and more you dive into jujitsu, the more your wardrobe changes. Like it starts with the simple stuff, like like gis and rash guards, and like you said, spats and stuff. Next you know, you be surfing online for t-shirts, and next your whole wardrobe is strictly like jujitsu stuff.
Not just my wardrobe, but like everything in my world. If I look at my social media now, I don't see all I see is jujitsu stuff. And
Mm-hmm.
it's, again, once you open that door, it's so hard to close it. But my vocabulary, I'm watching UFC now, and I never really watched sports before. My wife is more of an ESPN gal than I am. But
Mm-hmm.
on Saturday night, we got it on ESPN Plus. Now we're watching the prelims just this past weekend. Uh, it's cool.
It's
It's a
funny,
great,
man.
yeah.
Because like I can look on my social media now, and I think I probably have a few number of friends on, like, Facebook, for example, and I want to say a good 80% of those people are from jujitsu.
And all of my jujitsu buddies are like so engaging on social media. They're like, "You did it, yeah!" And it's just the whole community just goes well beyond that 1 hour workout that you do in the rolling. So yeah, I again, I would not have met these folks but for. So I'm really glad I stepped into the Rogue Wave facility and asked, "What is this thing you guys are doing called jujitsu?"
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean that's awesome, man. It's very very awesome to hear someone Because this is your first school, correct?
Yes, I've gone to other places just to check them out, and I have done a bunch of different seminars with folks, but pretty much stayed in this one facility. Really like the coach, really like the people there. There's really no need to have more than one home. And
Right.
plus, it's 10 minutes away from my house, so I couldn't ask for it to be a better location. So
Not at all, man. Because you have, like you're close by. You love the environment. It's very, very welcoming. So yeah, that's perfect. That's like best case scenario right there.
yes, I used to go to the 6 o'clock class, and then I had a health issue come up that I had to deal with. And now it's really hard to get to that 6 a.m. class. So
Mm.
uh, making it to the 7:30 gi class more often than the 6 a.m. But these folks that show up at 6 a.m., religiously, they're really intense. They really want to be good at they really want to be good at jujitsu. And
you
yet
have
they still put up with the likes of me. So
you
God
have to
bless
be
them.
a special kind of person to want to get up at 6 a.m. to do jujitsu.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
mean,
I'm one of those people. We used to have a 6 a.m. class, and I miss it so much. So,
well, it was cool because like I'm a morning guy, and I have a pretty intense work. And once I hit work, it's hard for me to like think I'm going to go back and work out. So if I don't hit the 6 a.m. or the 7:30, I guess there's a noon class that I sometimes hit. But by then, I'm pretty much already my day has me, and it's not going to let go of me.
yeah,
Um,
it definitely has uh, took over my life, like with my daily schedule. Because we train Tuesdays and Thursdays mainly, um, and I don't plan nothing those days. Like Tuesdays and Thursdays are strictly for jujitsu. Like I train at night. I work on my podcast all day, and that's Tuesdays. Tuesdays and Thursdays, that's what I do. Just all jujitsu stuff. But let's kind of backtrack a little bit because you said you competed. So
yes,
how was that? How was your first competition?
it was cool. It gave me something to work to. Again, I'm not the best physical specimen, so my coach came up to me before, and I'm going up against someone that's just huge. I mean, he's a white belt, but not too many people compete when they're in their 50s, so I had to go down in age and up
Mm-hmm.
weight. And so the guy I went against was like this Navy SEAL guy, and my coach comes up to me and says, "He's big, he's strong." And I'm like, "Is this what you want to tell someone?" Right? And he's like, "If you're gonna win, you got to do it quick." So I didn't do it quick. I got killed because there were only two of us. I did get silver. Um,
Hey.
Yay! So my team got some points. And if for me, I'm doing this because I want to expand my comfort zone, and
Mhm.
I didn't think I was going to get so nervous. And it was the World League BJJ or World League Jiu Jitsu. These different tournament people, and
Mhm.
and so I they have you like in an hour block. You're going to compete this hour, so you got to be there 10 minutes before your hour starts.
Yeah.
And again, I'm a trial litigator, so it's very hard for me to get nervous. And when I got in that cattle pen where they line you up, I got nervous. And they take you down, and you're in front of the like an arena. Not
Mhm.
like it's more than a gym. It's like a university gym, and there's stands and stuff, and your heart is going. And I had a physical phenomenon that I hadn't experienced since I was in trouble as a kid, where my nerves kind of took over, and I was nervous,
Mhm.
like I've never been in a really long time. And it felt good to have all that adrenaline and cortisol pump through your body. And for like 30 minutes I had this rush that I had not had. Uh, i hadn't had that feeling since I was a kid. And then I did my matches, and they were over pretty quickly. I did not get hurt. um, my
Always a
opponent
plus.
my opponent was great. I think he recognized the situation, and dealt with it accordingly. But he had big dramatic moves, and He got his gold, and my wife was watching. She was a little scared that my head was going to get ripped off. It did not. But that just shows you whatever you present to this community, that the community kind of takes care of you. And it took my situation, and even though I didn't get the W, I got a great experience. I wasn't really expecting to win, but now I'm probably more comfortable doing something like that than I was. And next time I do it, we'll see if I have the same rush of cortisol. And my God, was I tired after that.
Oh yeah.
I slept really good that night, but to have all that stuff go through you in 45 minutes, and then you have your match, and I can't imagine doing gi and no gi. That would be a lot for your first time. I just did a gi match, but it was because there was two of us, the best of three. Really cool experience. I would, it gives you something to work to. Competition training is different than technique. And after that moment, that's probably when I was in my tip-top shape, was working for that competition and working up to it.
So I've been in back in the locker rooms after people fights, and they talk about adrenaline dumps.
Mm-hmm.
And I've seen it happen. I've had my fair share of training, but going from training, rigorously training for a set amount of weeks, having these matches is a whole different breed of adrenaline dump.
Yeah.
Because I was after the tournament, I'm driving home, and I think maybe 10, 15 minutes into the drive, I started to feel it. And I'm like, oh, this is bad. I'm looking at the GPS, I still got 15 minutes. I gotta push it. So when I finally got home, man, I didn't even I just crashed. I just sat down, and next thing you know, I'm waking up at 4 a.m. the next day. What the hell happened?
But you feel great, right?
I felt amazing.
It was a great night's sleep. Yeah,
I felt amazing.
It's very hard to try to describe, and I don't think I would have accepted the explanation. You just kind of have to go through it to see what that is about. But it hits you,
It hits you
for real. There's no way around that.
No, and there's no stopping it.
Yeah, I mean that's the cool thing about jiu-jitsu, is that any time of day, it shows you exactly what you're made up of and what you're about, and there's no bullshit there. It is what it is, and there you go. But I certainly know my strengths and weaknesses in a much deeper way than I ever even contemplated them before I started jiu-jitsu. So just thinking about it, in that way, is pretty enlightening. Do you like gi or no gi better? Do you have a preference?
I do now.
What's that?
I do now. I have fallen more in love with no gi.
Is there a reason for the no gi love?
Man, to me, I feel like there's more freedom. I like the intensity of a no-gi match. I like the what's the word I'm looking for? The intensity of a no-gi match can get. Don't get me wrong, I've had some very, very good roles in a gi, but to me, I feel like no-gi, it's just more free.
Yeah,
everybody know
much more modern too,
Yeah, I don't have to worry about heavy clothes weighing me down, or I'm being held down by somebody who got grips on my gi or my lapel, and I'm so but that recently started happening. It wasn't because my school is predominantly gi, so I've been training that way for the past 4 or 5 years, and I just recently earlier. Yeah, a few months before I did my first no-gi match, I started doing no-gi, and I'm like, yeah, I like this. I really, really enjoy this a lot. A whole lot.
No-gi is pretty cool. Gi is very restrictive, and I have the illness I have is called psoriatic arthritis, and
Okay.
because of that, it's hard to it hurts to grip.
Yeah.
And in gi, that's all you do is, you're controlling with grips, and no gi, you're still doing all that technique, but landing them in a way where you don't have to tweak your fingers.
Yeah. That too. That's another big thing too as well, because I am an artist, so I love painting, drawing,
The
and
use of your fingers.
the use of my fingers, my digits were very, very important to me. So especially with me, like one of my last job, I did like cell phone repair, and it's like you're trying to hold these small instruments and your
Mhm.
fingers are throbbing. So it's like, yeah, like I gotta save these, man. These are my money makers. So like as much as I love love jujitsu, love getting that gritty fight, man, but I need my fingers. So that's another reason why I switched to nogi. So with your job, I know it has to be a very, very stressful job. How much have jujitsu changed how you approach it?
Well, I, the big thing is like what it's done to my ego, and you know, if you're a litigator, you're going to lose, and you're going to lose when you should have won, and that's just the odds of life. And I had a lot more difficulty with those losses before jujitsu. Now, uh, losing is kind of part of that experience, and it's not losing in itself, but what from that experience did you gain that you can apply the next time you have that situation show itself.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's much deeper that I've it's matured me as a person, and I'm pretty immature. Um, but looking at things and looking beyond the experience of just win or lose, and what does that experience hold for us, and what did we get from that experience, and what are we learning from that experience.
Mm-hmm.
I'm much more looking at that than being upset that I got a loss when I thought I should have got a win. So that helps. And again, when you're rolling and you're reacting to people, and you're reacting in real time physically, that rolling experience and exchange, applies to verbal exchanges and thinking
Mm-hmm.
of things and solving puzzles. And, I solve a lot of puzzles in life. It's just in an adversarial, kind of in your face way. That's the lawyer thing, not the jujitsu thing. Um, and, you know, dealing with people, I think it's made me more patient, less spazzy across the board, less spazzy,
Yeah.
um, mellower. Uh, it's helped me everywhere, physically, mentally. Um, it, it's done. It's why I keep showing up, because I see
Yeah.
result. I see results.
I hear you.
So yeah, I'll renew my membership.
So I think I'm good for another month or two. But that's awesome, man. Yeah, it's I can't talk about that enough when it comes to talking about jujitsu. How's it helped me? How it had helped me outside of just going and training, man. Just being able to deal with the everyday life from work, just home stuff, and just being able to find your happy space mentally, man. Because without jujitsu, I can't tell you where I would be, and I hate to think about where I would be if I didn't find jujitsu. So, but yeah, man, just being able to keep myself calm, keep myself mellow. I avoid conflict like the plague. As much as I know I can defend myself, I'm not necessarily worried about anything when I go out. But at the same time, it's like I don't necessarily want to be put in situations where I will have to.
Yeah,
So,
I think you're looking at the
just
world through different eyes.
yeah. Yeah, because I think the more violent you become in a training aspect, the more calm you become on the outside because you have a place where you could get out that frustration.
Right. And you're doing
Yeah,
it a couple times a week. And I guess the more you have it, the less you need it. Right.
yeah, exactly, exactly.
Um, but I'm much more on a recreational level. I'm not really getting into fights with people at my stage in life. But it's good to know
No,
that if someone does something, I just, take their back and rear naked choke them out. And I think there's something, if you haven't been choked out ever, I think that's an experience that, is interesting and humbling. And, I didn't mean to get choked out, but I tapped a little late and I got a little, you know, and my coach choked me out once just to show me what it was like in a very controlled way.
oh,
So, yeah, I enjoy showing up, learning new things, and, physically and mentally, every time I show up, I feel like I'm getting a little stronger.
yeah, and that's the best way to look at it, man. Because I can say for a fact, man. As long as I've been training, there will be moments while I walk around like I feel like I'm Superman. Like like you said, like you have the knowledge, you have the understanding, so you'll go around, you might see someone, and it's like, yeah, I can take that guy. Like I can take out everybody here if I wanted to, but
I get happy when I see the trial guy walk in. I'm like, he's mine today.
like he just don't know it yet.
No, but then you end up teaching them. So,
Right.
and you inspire them to come back it's cool. It's a big
Yeah,
circle.
man. Big circle. Cause we were all that trial guy.
Oh yeah.
We was
I
all
was,
that
I
trial
was,
guy.
I was the epitome of it because um, I was overweight. I didn't even do cardio back then. And getting out there, just doing the warm ups gassed me. So I've come a long way in 2.5 years.
Yeah, man, that is like I said, that is very beautiful to hear, man. And this is, you are a prime example of, you start jujitsu when you're available to start jujitsu. There is no time restraint on jujitsu. Like if you can get out there, just get out there and do your best, and have fun and enjoy.
Yeah, and 2.5 years later, I'm not great, but I'm doing it.
Right.
And that's all that matters to me is I'm out there getting exercise, doing the
Hmm.
stuff, making friends, but taking myself out of my comfort zone and making me comfortable with a whole lot more than I was used to. Um,
Oh yeah.
so that's a beautiful gift that has been given to me.
Yeah. And I can say the same thing for this podcast, man. If it wasn't for jiu-jitsu, I I wouldn't have met so many wonderful people who was willing to sit down and talk to a complete stranger for an hour about a sport we all love.
Well, Lamar, it's nice to meet you. Cheers.
Likewise, likewise. All right, Eddie, man, we have a staple here at Talk Your Jits podcast, man. We ask everyone who comes on the show, past or present, man, three people you would love to get a chance to roll with.
Wow. Um, I mean, pretty much our studio, we have some really cool people come in, and I've never really had to think about that because they feed us such a cool supply of awesome people like Gil Burns, and we just had Nikki Rod and John Combs, and so I've never wanted because our facility has always like fed us. Every 3 weeks we have someone awesome coming in.
Oh, that's
Um,
dope.
so I can't even comprehend your question, Lamar, because our give it up to our guy Ryan Conforti. But like every 3 weeks, we have someone amazing come in, and you know, um, I don't even know the caliber of these people, and then I roll with them, and then I'm like researching them. I'm like, holy cow, this guy, could have ripped my head off, and instead, we had a good roll. So yeah,
That's awesome.
I
That's
haven't.
you are the first to say that.
That's the only way I can answer that question, Lamar.
Hey, that's the best answer, man. It's like you don't need to dream it because you already roll with a lot of them.
Yeah, well, if you're ever in South Florida, come check us out.
I got to, man. Yes, man. Yes. I was just about to say, man, if there's anything else you wanted to ask, man, by all means. If you got anything coming up that you would love to share, go ahead. If you want to shout out your school, which you already done, but the floor is all yours.
Yeah, I have no agenda, just happy to be in better health. And if you are curious and you haven't really done this before, if some old attorney like me can get on those mats, and at the end of the day, I'm the one mopping those maps because we let the lowest ranked belt do it. So just that whole experience is something everybody should have in their life. Just going through those steps, and it doesn't matter where you are in life. When you walk in these doors, this is how you're treated, and with respect and care and love. But there's some rules you got to follow too. So it's just cool, like you said, that tribe. It's really cool being a part of that tribe. It's a good description, Lamar. I think we do refer to ourselves as a war tribe. So
We're definitely a war tribe.
We tribe it up. So thank you for having me on your show, Lamar. I really appreciate your invite, and it was cool getting to hang out with you and chit chat about jiu-jitsu.
Likewise, man, and I wish you the best on your journey, man. Once that white belt turn blue, man, let me know. We can have you back and we can talk about it.
Yes. If it turns, I will let you know.
Man, thank you. I appreciate you, brother.
Lamar, great to meet you.
Yes, sir. And that's it, man. That's the end of today's episode. I would love to thank Eddie one more time for coming on the show and bless us with his jiu-jitsu knowledge. Hope you guys enjoyed. Please go and follow our Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube page to stay up to date on all future episodes. This has been Talk Your Jits Podcast. Keep rolling, keep grinding, and remember, long live jiu-jitsu. Have a great day.